Good afternoon. I have the distinct pleasure of talking about the St. Andrew Museum in a place that smells like heaven. It has an atmosphere that we don't usually have in a museum. And I'm here with a wonderful St. Andrew alum, Susie Ammar Hanna, in her establishment, in her coffee bar. And Susie is very special to us in her own right because she is a woman entrepreneur. She's built a business, very interesting business. But she's also interesting because Susie is the fourth generation of her family to be involved in St. Andrew. And at the end of our little discussion here in Susie's Bakery and Coffee Bar in Southdale, we'll be hearing from Susie about something that she, like the tradition of the Ammars, is going to be giving back to St. Andrew, which has to do with her line of work. But Susie, it's gorgeous to be here with you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bernal.
I am thrilled that you have just immediately supported the mission of the St. Andrew Museum, the Emrie James Museum, named after our dear Miss James. And that you're going to be sharing just some little snippets about how you have built this wonderful business. Because I warn you, I've eaten here many times before, you can see from my waistline. But don't look down. Tell us about a little bit about this, and then we're going to go back and find out about the Ammars at St. Andrew. How are we here, Susie? When was this started?
Well, I started this business as more like a hobby. I used to do it from when I was a kid. I used to do it, and then I used to do it at university with my friends. And then it just became something I started to do and make a little extra money. And then it became a business because I really was working with my family at Ammar for 12 years, and then my husband and I started to do this. I would be
What year would about?
My company is 20 years old this year.
Wow.
So 20 years old.
1990. 20 years from
or 5. Yeah. So took over the house, and we ended up having to find a place to rent. So we ended up in Southdale Plaza. We said the rent is high, we have to do some retail business. So we started to do retail as well. And that's how Susie'sBakery worked.
You know, Susie, that's the story of how many things get born. Just the need, the interest, doing it for your friends and family, and then realizing that you have a niche there. And I think that's one of the lessons that we want to share with young girls now. You can do anything you dream of. And in a way, the career choices we used to have, you have to do this, you have to grow up to be a lawyer, doctor, go to university. We can do all of that and more. And that's why this is so special, Susan, because not just that you've been here 20 years, but your reputation, as I said, anybody I speak to says, you want to be Cape Town, come to Susie's bar, you get a golden meeting. And that's important. But when you talked about making your way, I think we have to pay tribute now to the Ammar family. I certainly, as a girl at school, used to see Mrs. Ammar coming to visit, and she never was on her feet. So it's part of a family tradition. Tell us about Mrs. Nellie Ammar, just a little bit.
Well, what I can remember, my grandmother had great pride in St. Andrew. She was one of the first, she was in the group of the first girls that I think boarded at St. Andrew, which
We don't know about boarding.
And she loved it, and I think that her brother was much younger than her half-brother, was in the class of the first class of the prep school.
Where boys
yes,
attend?
because prep school is still co-ed, just a high school, I think. And I mean, she had great pride and the love of her school, and she was on the board, and she used to tell me, oh, lovely stories about St. Andrew. And then my aunts went there, her nieces went there, my cousins and I went there, and then my niece, who's a fourth generation, she went to St. Andrew, and all Ammars. So that was a tradition.
You know, we're going to have a fun competition, which is being fiercely discussed about whose family had more members, and some of us are trying to attack on our brothers and our country cousins and say, well, my great niece went there. We say, no, great niece is a strip bar. But that's something we still see today, that admission is fiercely sought after, and many of the old girls book the baby at birth. You know. But I tell you, she was on the board for many years, and that was the other thing that we built and set down, that this is a giving back. And you know, Susie, that's why too, when we came in here and looked around at the establishment, we realized that you have a training program here as well as a curriculum. So tell us a little bit about how you develop your staff.
Well, I work with them, so they get to see the way I want things to be done.
Which is exact.
Well, I used to be more exact, and I'm ready to all now. Helping the customers, paying attention to all the details that are very important in any business. But we do a lot of training with UTech students, a lot of the heart students also, Portmore Community College, and a lot of other little schools that I can't remember now. They'll say, oh, please take two of my students for 4 weeks. I have 2 students starting on Monday. They're coming. They're in the management program at UTech, so they're coming for 10 weeks each.
So when they come, Susie, they have a hands-on total experience?
They do. I like to ask them what areas do they like.
Sure.
So one of the young girls coming on, she likes to be baking, so I'm going to let her work with the pastry chef, the lady in charge of finishing the cakes, also letting her do some of the pita bread baking, so she can learn about mixing the dough, sheeting, all of that.
Is it hands-on, or do you depend a lot on machines? And you know, people say now everything is mechanized. Or
not here, because we're a scratch bakery. Everything from scratch. We do a lot of stuff with our hands. So the ingredients of these are very expensive but very good. And then we do things for that.
I'm just something that you can do. And I am immediately a convert. I love food from this, but of course I can't go abroad, I can't.
And you can taste it.
I can taste it. It's real, you know. And that's something else, you know, they talk about the world of organic food. And I think Jamaicans don't realize that we were always organic in a way. What about how would somebody, suppose they want to come and trade with somebody is using the schools that you're associated, they come to you?
It's not individually, because I have a lot of people that come and they want me to train them so they can do their own business. But I prefer to take the students because a lot of the times I end up hiring them, or they work part-time.
And you know, see another aspect of the world here, Susie. Come on over here, Ann Shirley. This is a St. Andrew Club. Yes, and Gail, this is a museum you're now in. That's the other point.
Nobody's alright.
Is that it's a meeting place.
Yes.
And we're talking with Susie about the family, the Ammar, but also about the traditions of service and trade. And Susie has been here 20 years.
Service excellence.
We're here 18 years. 2 years before.
Right.
But you know, service, here's another discussion of public service.
I know.
So we have to grab you and talk about that. Because that's the point about the museum. We told Susie about what we're trying to do. And a lot of it with this sort of Gail coming and we're talking and then recording and saying, no, I'm not allowed.
But I'm on Facebook, so I get to see some of the stuff that's there. But one of the things I must tell you about her is the consistency of her quality. It's not the service excellence which she had. And I think over the 18 years, if you had one of her products, she has kept it that because she and her husband control
And that's very, very important. We know that we live in a world where everything, you know, unless you hold the line, standards don't seem to be important. But you know, Susie, as just said, the point is that standards make a difference, particularly in a small country like ours where we know everybody and we can identify.
And people pay a premium and will pay get it because they know when they get it, they get the consistent quality.
Cheers to
All
that.
right.